Hi, I'm Sharon Pederson and I have a great tip to share with you today. You know when you have to sew, 427 blocks together, we're making a 4 patch here, so we're going to sew these 2 together. And so first thing you do, of course, is you get it lined up in your sewing machine, and then you have to find the 2 threads, and you start to sew and you sew to the end, which will be there in just a minute. And then you take it out, you cut the thread, and then you take another one. And every time you do it, you've wasted 6 or 7 inches of thread. But the most annoying part is every once in a while the thread kind of gets sucked out of the needle, doesn't it? So instead of doing it that way, what I would do is I would line my little 4 patches up. Usually I would have lined them up so that they're ready to sew. Put it underneath the foot, okay? Get it started. Sew to the end. Now instead of taking it out of the machine, you then just pick up the next one and position it. You might have to take 2 or 3 stitches over nothing, but that's no problem. Sew the next 2 together, and so on and so on, and they all just kind of fall off the end of the sewing machine there. But sometimes you're making not just 2 blocks together, but 3 or 4. So I just reach in behind, pick up this. The next one is going to be sewn together like this. And so instead of taking it out of the machine every time, lifting the needle, cutting the thread, you just keep on feeding things here. It saves so much time, it saves so much frustration, but eventually you are going to come to the end where you are going to finish. So what I do then is I just grab a little scrap of fabric. It can be anything, from the garbage, a little chunk of fabric, and I often choose one that's a different color from the one I'm working with, just so that it doesn't get lost in the shuffle. Okay, sew across that far enough so that you can reach behind and cut it out. Now, when I sew the next piece, pieces, plural, I'll just sew off the end of this. Let me find one here that isn't already sewn together. I would just start sewing. As soon as you get off the end of the red fabric, okay? And if you're going to sew 2 or 3 things together to this, I just keep this handy, sew off the end, sew onto this, and it just saves so much time. So industrial feeding is one of the names they give to this, flash feeding. It just saves lots of time, eliminates the frustration, and saves you a whole bunch of thread too. So I hope you enjoyed that.